Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's broadcasting for another presentation of Southern Virginia University Athletics. Today's baseball contest is between the Tornadoes of Brevard College and your Southern Virginia University Knights. I'm Dawson Weidrich, joined once again by Quinn Meyer here in Buena Vista, Virginia at the fields of Perry McClure High School. Quinn, great to have you here again.
Thanks, Dawson. It's great to be here. It's another good day for baseball. A little cloudy, but a great temperature and ideal weather for baseball today.
Absolutely, and like we mentioned, Brevard College coming into today's game. This will be the first of 3 games in the span of today and tomorrow. There'll be a doubleheader between these two teams tomorrow as well. And Brevard College comes into this game with a 10-6 overall record. They've had 2 stretches where they had a 5-game win streak and a 4-game win streak, and a couple losses interspersed in between. But they've had a lot of success so far. They got to be comfortable with where they're at. They're currently on a 2-game losing streak, so obviously wanted to break out of that here against Southern Virginia. And Southern Virginia, on the flip side, is also having some success in having a winning record so far with 7-5 overall. They are currently on a 5-game winning streak. The last time they lost was on February 28th against Newport News Apprentice School, where they lost 1-2 in 7 innings. Ever since then, they've really been on a tear, doing a great job. They've had the game against Capital last week that you and I both covered, where the first game they won 11-2, then they won 8-5 in the second game, and just since then they've really had a lot of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams, they're solid teams and they're having good seasons so far. I know both teams were in the preseason poll for the USA South were ranked in the bottom half of the standings, but both teams off to solid starts, and let's see if the Knights can keep their rapid scoring pace up today.
Absolutely, and up to bat for the Tornadoes to start things off is number 6, Blake Burchett, the senior from Mooresville, North Carolina. And pitching for Southern Virginia is a familiar face, number 25, Stockton Hall, the freshman from Kaysville, Utah. He's gotten a lot of innings pitched so far this season. He's one of their reliable pitchers for the Knights.
Yeah, and we talked about the other week that pitching has been a strength of the Knights so far. And then the last week and a half, they put together good pitching and good hitting, which has strung into 5 wins in a row.
That'll be a foul ball for Burchett. Keeps it at an 0-2 count. You know, going into that game against Capital, the Knights had been struggling. They had lost 4 of their recent 5 up until that point. Again, we talked about the consistency issues that they had. Now we're able to string together a bunch of hits, but since then that has really changed. And, you know, as we pointed out in that doubleheader against Capital, the Knights really got a lot of their groove back and recognized, hey, we can put together some scoring opportunities and capitalize on that.
Yeah, and confidence goes a long way. I think before that game, the Knights were 3-5 and lacked a little bit of confidence hitting the ball. And after that, it took off, and they've been able to string together some good games of hitting.
So after 2 straight strikes, there are 2 balls now. Another foul ball. Keeps it at 2-2.
And another thing to note is that the Knights have been super resilient so far this season. We've seen a few of the pitchers get a couple of saves, and including their last matchup Tuesday against Averett, they were down 3-1, I think, going into the 7th inning or even the 8th inning, and managed 7 runs in the last 2 innings combined. So they know how to come back and recover from tough starts.
Absolutely, and so Burchett really battling out as the first batter of the day. Count stays at 2-2. That one just a little inside, now full count. That one also inside, so Burchett will walk to first. After a strong start from Hall, Burchett able to get the walk.
And as you noted earlier, Dawson, this is the first game in conference play for either team, which is super important. Both teams struggled in conference play last year, especially the Knights. I think they lost their first 3 games in conference play last year. And so this is a great matchup, and hopefully these teams can get off to good starts.
Absolutely. Whenever you're going into preseason, your main priority is we got to make sure we're ready for conference competition, because those are really the games that matter. You want to win all your games, period. But the conference games are the ones that you really focus in on, the teams you're very familiar with and you can more easily prepare for. And now batting for the Tornadoes is number 3, Luke Morton, the sophomore from Wake Forest, North Carolina. Makes it a little low for a 1-1 count. Beautiful throw to second, and he's out. Burchett trying to make it to second, and he's tagged out. Fantastic play from the infield for Southern Virginia.
That's an important play right there with Luke Morton at the plate. He does lead Brevard College in batting average this year, so it's big to get a runner who is on base out.
And more importantly, to get that first out of the game in general, just trying to make sure that you can get things going defensively. With that pitch, it's now a 2-2 count, 1 out. Hall releases that one a little late. And another full count for Hall. And then we'll get it to first in time. So 2 outs. No runners on base for the Tornadoes. I love the patience there that was shown by number 34, Seth Lloyd. He's actually at the top of the batting order for the Knights today. But he saw the bounce off the dirt and recognized there's plenty of time. I can collect this. No need to panic. Collect it, throw it to first, get the easy out.
Yeah, Seth's been a big part of the winning streak that the Knights have had. He had a really good game against Capital in that doubleheader, and he's been playing with great confidence ever since then.
And batting now for the Tornadoes is number 15, Logan Clark, the junior from St. Petersburg, Florida. Popped up, looks like it lands just out, so we have foul ball. Makes it a 1-2 count. We saw number 6, Ty Martinez, trying to run that one down. And Ty Martinez, we applauded him up and down last week just because he had a phenomenal game at bat where he had a home run and he had a grand slam. All in the same inning, mind you. And that strikeout gets the Knights back into the dugout. So even though they gave up the first hit, or I guess they walked number 6, Blake Burchett, they're able to get 3 straight outs, able to take care of business and get into the dugout. And as we go into the bottom of the first inning, we want to remind you you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below, let us know how we're doing, and be sure to click that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with a Southern Virginia Athletics broadcast. We appreciate your support of Southern Virginia Athletics. So as I mentioned before, top of the batting order for Southern Virginia is number 34, Seth Lloyd. He was able to make one of the plays in the infield at the top of the first inning.
And Seth, he's a batter that's managed to get on base a lot. I think it was the last game that we covered together against Capital. He was able to get on base 4 consecutive times to start the game. And even though he's not hitting big shots in the outside of the field, he's been able to get on base, which is key for the Knights.
Absolutely. And so pitching for the Tornadoes is number 24, Trenton Anderson, the junior right-handed pitcher from Orange City, Florida. So Seth Lloyd will get things started going up against him. And Trent Anderson standing at 6'3". You always find it interesting to see how these batters combat against a taller pitcher. That's one of the big key things you look for in a pitcher when it comes to collegiate or pro level, right? When you have height to a pitcher, it kind of adds a whole new dynamic that really helps you out. So score stands 0-0. Bottom of the first. Beautiful pitch down the middle for Anderson. Another strike. The umpire's liking the inside pitch today. That one a little high.
And those are 3 lethal deliveries there. He's got a super quick release, which makes it tough to read.
That one a little low to the outside, makes it a 2-2 count. And like you said, Quinn, really great release here we're seeing from Anderson and a lot of speed on his pitches. I'd also be very curious to see if we can get a little speedometer gun out there just to test and see how fast that is going. You see that one had a little bit less speed and dropped on it. Lloyd able to make some contact. Hit out into right field. Fantastic hit. It's going to roll towards the fence. That'll be a double for Lloyd. Phenomenal start for the Knights.
Yeah, I've been impressed with the Knights hitters this year. They've been able to read the pitcher super well. Even in some games where they faced 5, 6, and even 7 pitchers, they've been doing a great job of reading the pitches.
They absolutely have. And now up to bat for Southern Virginia's number 10, Will Parker, the senior from Simi Valley, California, with Nick Danes on deck. First pitch is a ball. So now the Knights have Lloyd on second. And Danes has shown his capability as a power hitter. Tries to pull back on that swing. He's not quite able to. That one a little low from Anderson.
In this top half of the order for the Knights seems to always have me on the edge of my seat the past few games and really during this entire winning streak. The top half of the order has been able to put together a good string of hits.
That's into left field. Fantastic catch from number 1, Lucas Granada. Lloyd still able to advance to third.
That was a good catch by the outfielder. Had to stretch out, and if he didn't stretch out enough, then it could have been a run for the Knights.
It could have been a run and a double for Will Parker. Now Nick Danes up to bat with number 20, Mitch Smith, on deck. So now there's 1 out in the bottom of the first. Runner on third, Knights in prime scoring position. And you still have an out to give, so you could have a sacrifice hit or a sacrifice bunt to try to get Lloyd in for a run. That one a little to the outside.
In the next couple of pitches, if he tries to sink one in there above the plate, look for Nick to swing big.
The count is now 1-2. Swings at that one. I believe they had the count wrong on the board. I believe now it is 1-2. Dane's able to make contact with that one. Able to get to first, and Lloyd gets a run. So the Knights take the lead 1-0. And still have an out to give. Now to bat for Southern Virginia's number 20, Mitch Smith. And honestly, the Tornadoes are fortunate that the shortstop was able to make the ground play that he did to give him even sort of a chance. Smith limping away after that pitch. We're exactly able to see what had happened.
Mitch Smith had a solid game on Tuesday against Averett. He had 2 hits and just 5 at-bats, managing 1 RBI, and was able to score twice as well. Part of that comeback.
That's as productive a day as any batter can really hope for. That is strike 2. And tagged out at second is Danes. So that'll be out number 3. And the Knights, after a couple successful at-bats, have a 1-0 lead over the Tornadoes of Brevard College going into the top of the 2nd inning. And with this short break, I want to remind you, this is brought to you by Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. Be sure to go check them out if you're in the Buena Vista area, whether you're visiting the Southern Virginia campus, visiting the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains, or just passing through. Be sure to go stop by. Great drinks, great treats, and great times. Thank you so much, Straws Drinks and Eats, for partnering with Southern Virginia Athletics. So, in the top of the 1st inning, we saw Brevard College get a couple things going. They had the walk with their first batter, had a runner on base. Of course, the Knights able to make the play at second to tag him out. But I would imagine to see, with Brevard being as successful as they have been so far this year and being able to score the amount of points they have, you imagine they're going to make some adjustments. Stockton Hall kind of struggled a little bit at the top of the 1st. And, of course, if you're Southern Virginia, you're thinking, hey, he's going to get more into it, more into the groove of the game. So we'll see which one adapts first.
Yeah, Stockton's been steady over the course of the season, so there's no doubt that he's going to be able to adjust and pitch a better inning here.
Now up to bat for the Tornadoes is number 26, Cale Oler. Oler, a sophomore from Charlotte, North Carolina.
But it's nice to see the Knights get on the right side of the scoreboard early, which takes a little bit of pressure off the pitchers.
Oler swings at that one as it's a little high. Makes it an 0-2 count. For some reason, Oler thought he was walking. The count reads 1-2. Perhaps he thought he had struck out.
Yeah,
either way, the count now sits 2-2.
Yeah, not quite sure what he's thinking.
And Lloyd able to field it. Get the out at first. Once again, Lloyd making a fantastic play at shortstop.
Yeah, that's a sweet pass to first base. That's 2 good plays by Lloyd in the early going.
So now that is 1 out here in the top of the 2nd. Now up to bat for the Tornadoes is number 19, Frankie Vasquez, the sophomore from Pembroke Pines, Florida. Tries to bunt it. I believe it hits home plate and then goes backwards for a foul ball. Vasquez able to stop himself from swinging at that one. Makes it a 1-1 count. Right down the middle for Hall. Waiting on something from the umpire here. Just trying to make sure they have the correct count, I believe. Maybe a foul ball.
It'll be interesting to see how the Knights manage their pitching this weekend with 3 games in just 2 days. Fortunately, like we were talking about earlier, they've gotten steady pitching all year, which means they haven't had to switch out too often during games and preserve some energy for their pitchers.
And when they have had to switch up pitchers, those pitchers that come in tend to give good relief for a while. One of the ones that we've really talked about, Rock Giles, has really come in and provided some quality innings for the Knights in relief of pitchers like, say, Stockton Hall.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Giles, he's been excellent this year so far. I think he's faced 34 batters and has 11 strikeouts, so can't ask for too much better in that regard.
And the throw from third baseman number 10, Will Parker, just a little slow to first base. But again, great work, diving forward, stopping it in its tracks, preventing it from being more than just a single. And now up to bat for the Tornadoes is number 1, Lucas Granada, the sophomore from Wake Forest, North Carolina. That one a little inside. Strike zone's looking a little small for Hall right now. Lloyd able to field it. Gets the out at second. And so 3 up, 3 down once again for the Knights defensively. Once again, much like the top of the first inning, the Tornadoes are able to get a couple things going, get a couple of runners on base, had a couple of them tagged out, but not able to get any runs out of it.
Defense has been a big strength of the Knights so far, especially in that third base and shortstop positions. They're getting great minutes from guys like Will Parker and Seth Lloyd.
They absolutely are. I'd say the infield has definitely been the MVP for Southern Virginia so far, along with solid pitching from Stockton Hall. And like you said, Quinn, going into the top of the second, you fully expected Stockton Hall to get more comfortable and get more consistent. That's exactly what ended up happening. With the short break, we want to remind you, watch this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know how we're doing and how we can improve your viewing experience of Southern Virginia athletics. Also, be sure to click the notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting. So Trenton Anderson will once again go up against the batters of Southern Virginia. Up first for the Knights will be number 44, Ben Horsley, or Benji as he's called. And on deck will be number 28, Marcelino Leonardo Jr.
Benji, one of the few Knights to have hit a home run so far this season, so look for him to swing to the fences.
And for the folks out there who are just tuning in, the Knights currently hold a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the second. That one a little inside. Able to make some contact, but it'll be a foul ball. Solid contact made there. Great stop from the second baseman. That was number 6, Blake Burchett, able to make that play. So quick out for the Tornadoes with Leonardo up to bat. And on deck is Ty Martinez. I love the fact that Leonardo and Martinez are back-to-back in this batting order. Again, 2 guys who have a lot of talent and a lot of power behind their swing and can really be dangerous for any pitcher out there.
Yeah, they've scored a lot so far this season. As we mentioned, Ty Martinez rifled 2 home runs to right field a couple weeks ago here. Hopefully they can replicate that.
That strike makes it an 0-2 count. Swinging at that one, another foul ball. And a strikeout. So 2 up, 2 down with Ty Martinez up to bat.
It was a good looking pitch, got him fishing up high.
And much like how we saw Stockton Hall get more comfortable in the top of the second inning, you're seeing the same thing with Trenton Anderson. Little low to the inside. Martinez tempted the swing, but he decided against it as it dropped really quickly as it went over the home plate. Able to bounce it up and get the out at first. So 3 up, 3 down as we go into the top of the 3rd inning. Score still stands 1-0 in favor of the Knights of Southern Virginia. Both defenses doing a lot of great things so far. Again, the Knights had the successful bottom of the 1st, able to get Seth Lloyd to get a run in. But other than that, we're seeing a lot of great infield work from both squads.
Yeah, that was a good looking inning of pitching from Anderson. He does lead the team in strikeouts with 26 this season. And I think he's allowed the least amount of hits too, or close to that, having played 4 games. And so that's a strength of a pitcher, not just getting strikeouts, but also throwing pitches that are tough to make contact with and force them into an easy out.
And you mentioned him pitching in only 4 games so far this year. This is a squad that's had a lot of success throughout the year, having a 10-6 win-loss record. And so the fact that a pitcher of his quality is only playing in 4 games, it just kind of shows you the depth they have at that position.
Yeah, Brevard, they have 6 pitchers who have played in at least 4 games. Statistically, Trenton Anderson leading the way for them.
So now up to bat for the Tornadoes is number 2, Tristan Robinson. Robinson, the senior from Morganton, North Carolina. Swinging at that low pitch from Hall.
And even though that was a quick inning for the Knights at the plate, they do still lead 1-0. And what we've seen a lot of out of the Knights is they get down early and have to claw their way back in it. So the fact that they're still up 1-0 right now is great. It's
a nice change of pace for them, I guess, is what you're saying here. The fact that they don't really have to worry about coming back from behind, more so protecting the lead. This is popped up. Dane's able to grab that one. Here in the broadcast booth here in outfield, we were kind of thinking to ourselves, possibly this is coming right for us. But Dane's able to track it down and get the out.
And we talked about today the stellar infield play and pitching. The outfield's done well too. I don't think
Absolutely.
Nick Danes has made any errors in the outfield so far. So he's having a good year defensively as well.
We've seen a lot of great outfield play from both Ty Martinez and Nick Danes so far throughout the year. Again, center and right field. If you have a strong center and right field, you're in good hands as far as the outfield is concerned. So 1 out here in the top of the 3rd. The count is 1-2. And number 28, Mason Leon, is at bat for the Tornadoes. That's a foul ball.
Stockton, so far, he's been able to get out ahead early with a couple of early strikes, take the pressure off himself and put the pressure on the hitter.
That makes it a 2-2 count. Because again, a lot of it is a mental game. If you can get to the point where you have the upper hand over the batter, it forces the batter into a mental state of desperation, trying to swing its length to try to not strike out. But that ball makes it a full count. And the key to that as a batter is to make sure you don't panic. You don't just chase after whatever seems kind of close. But Hall able to get the best of that situation.
It's a sweet pitch inside right there. Get him swinging.
So 2 outs now. With number 4, Zach Allison up to bat. That one will be a ball.
Zach Allison with 7 hits so far this season. A couple of doubles.
With that pitch makes it a 1-1 count. Hit into the right field. Solid hit for Allison. Prevents the Tornadoes from going 3 up, 3 down.
And another thing to note, it'll be interesting to see how the field holds up today. It rained a little bit this morning, maybe a little bit last night, but so far the players haven't been sliding, and they've been able to read the balls pretty well so far.
They definitely have, and now up to bat. We're at the top of the batting order once again with number 6, Blake Burchett. He walked on his first at-bat.
Burchett, another solid hitter for Brevard. Has an average of .320 at the plate so far this year.
That strike makes it an 0-2 count. Able to make some contact. And they get the out at third. It looks like they call it safe at third. It was very close. Southern Virginia was convinced.
Man, that was a tough one. That's a tough break.
Indeed, Allison had turned second, then turned third. Because again, it was an awkward hit to where it just went past Hall, but it was a bit in front of number 20, Mitch Smith.
It was, and it made for an awkward play. The runner going to third was on the right side of the plate, so it made it tough for Will Parker to reach over. Most people thought he got him in time, but to the umpire, no.
And you see Burchett making his way to second. And now up to bat is number 3, Luke Morton. That strike makes it a 1-1 count. So the Knights in a bit of a pickle here. They have runners on second and third. They do have 2 outs. They have foul ball out the right side. So at this point, you can make the easy play to first. You're able to get a solid infield play.
Yeah, absolutely. Stockton just needs to focus on the batter. With 2 outs, just as you said, they can get an easy out to first or a strikeout.
That one just a little outside makes it a 2-2 count. That one also a little high. Makes it a full count.
It's a check swing, super close to getting him to swing there. It's not a bad pitch at all.
Stockton Hall looking for his 4th strikeout of the game so far. He won't get it. Now base is loaded for the Tornadoes. That's the second batter he has walked today.
Yep, it's a little high, but again, just needs to focus on the batter with 2 outs, even though the bases are loaded, which can bring quite a bit of pressure.
Now this is number 15, Logan Clark, the junior outfielder from St. Petersburg, Florida. That foul ball makes it an 0-1 count. Another foul ball. Makes it 0-2. The Knights trying to hold on to a 1-run lead in the early goings of this one. Solid hit into right field. Ty Martinez right there to snag it. So the Knights able to escape a great situation for Brevard by getting the out in the outfield. Again, base is loaded. A lot of things are going Brevard College's way. And the fact that the Knights were able to come out of there without giving up a single run, I mean, you can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, that was a key play, and fortunately for Ty Martinez, he didn't have to move too much because it went right to him in right field. But it's important because that's an inning that can really swing the momentum, having three runners on base. But being able to get out of that is super key for the Knights.
It absolutely is. And while we have the short little break, I want to remind you, this is brought to you by Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. Be sure to go check it out if you're in the Buena Vista, Virginia area, whether you're visiting the campus of Southern Virginia University or whether you're visiting a student athlete, or just passing through. Be sure to go stop by, get yourself a nice soda or a cookie, whatever the case may be. They got great treats. My drink of choice, of course, Dr. Pepper, cherry, vanilla, and you also got some lime in there as well as almond cream. Can't go wrong with that. But they got a lot of different offers to choose from, so go check out Straws Drinks and Eats today. Thanks so much, Straws Drinks and Eats, for partnering with Southern Virginia Athletics. So now up to bat for Southern Virginia will be number 12, St. John Johnson, the sophomore from Holiday, Utah. This will be his first at-bat today.
And St. John, he's been one of the most valuable players for the Knights so far. He's done well playing catcher for the Knights. And a week and a half ago, he homered against Capital and has a super nice batting average as well.
He's absolutely been very key for Southern Virginia at bat. Now we're in the bottom of the third. For those just tuning in, the score remains Southern Virginia 1-0 for Brevard College. Seth Lloyd was the one who was able to score the run in the bottom of the first. First swing for Johnson. That is a foul ball. Johnson swinging at that one, even though it's a little inside. That was Anderson's 30th pitch so far today. He's got 2 strikeouts. Solid contact, goes right to second base and out at first. So now to bat will be number 21, Jackson Massey. And after that, we'll go back to the top of the batting order with Seth Lloyd. Able to make some contact, but it'll be a foul ball. Makes it an 0-1 count. That one's going to drop right in the strike zone. Makes it an 0-2 count.
Looks like a little bit of rain is starting to fall here, but hopefully it doesn't become too intense.
That one dropped a little bit, make it a 1-2 count. Indeed, you hope for the sake of the players both in the infield and the outfield that the rain doesn't become too crazy here. That one a little inside. Makes that a 2-2 count. It looks to be cloudy and just partially rainy all day, so I can imagine this is the worst that it'll be today. Of course, you got to knock on wood there as a commentator. Commentator's curse is a real thing. That makes it a full count for Anderson. The foul ball there.
Another important thing for Anderson is that he's been able to get rid of batters pretty early in the count. Been able to preserve a little bit more energy, but here we have a full count.
Great play at shortstop there. That makes it 2 outs.
It's been a little bit stagnant for the Knights since the early run scored in the first inning.
That run was scored by the man who's at bat now, Seth Lloyd. So maybe he'll have a repeat of some of the magic he had in the bottom of the first. It'll be a foul ball.
It's a fortunate foul ball for Lloyd because that would have been a super easy out at first base.
I do like the general area that he was hitting it to. Try to get it between the first and second baseman. If he can get that, he can get a solid single there.
Yeah, his good hit at the start of the game came in right field, right between second and first base.
That one an inside strike, making an 0-2 count. I'll pop that out into, looks like out of the park, but a foul ball. That's out of there in a totally different context. Keeps it at an 0-2 count. And 3 up, 3 down. As Seth Lloyd swings and misses. The score still remains 1-0 in favor of the Knights as you mentioned, Quinn, both teams kind of stagnating right now, really not able to get much going offensively. The closest that the Tornadoes got was the previous inning where they had bases loaded and weren't able to get any runs scored. So we'll see if they're able to push it just a little bit further in this next inning. But again, the longer the game's gone on, the more comfortable both Stockton Hall and Trenton Anderson have become on the mound.
Again, like we talked about, it's fortunate that the Knights got out to an early lead 1-0 because it's still 1-0. And I think that's the second inning in a row where the Knights have gone 3 and out. And so hopefully they can keep their impressive defensive stand up so far.
Again, we've just seen a lot of great work from the infield for both teams today. And again, also some great productivity from the outfield whenever it has been hit out there, which has been kind of rare. The furthest hit we've seen was one into center field that was brought down by Nick Daines in the previous inning off of a hit from Brevard College. But now up to bat for the Tornadoes is number 26, Cale Oler.
And on another note, this is a good matchup for both teams. As I was saying earlier, both were picked to be in the lower part of the USA South this year. But both teams off to really good starts, and so they have something to prove.
They absolutely do. Again, when projections come out, projections serve as a couple different purposes, right? For viewers and such, or for coaches, it shows you what you can expect come the end of the season. But when it comes to individual teams looking at where they're ranked, it can serve as a motivation tool. I'm sure both these teams saw those preseason rankings and kind of felt a little slighted. Felt like, hey, they don't respect us very much, so let's prove that they are wrong about these preseason rankings.
Absolutely.
Solid hit into left field. Fielded well by Benji Horsley. Keeps it at a single.
It's a really nice cutoff from Horsley, preventing the runner from advancing to second.
It's now up to bat is number 19, Frankie Vasquez. Lloyd able to field that one, gets it to second, but Vasquez able to make it to first. But as the saying goes, it's better than nothing. It's better to just have one runner at first than a runner on first and second.
Yeah, a little bobble there by Seth Lloyd, but a smart play to just send it to second, get the safe and easy out.
That one a little outside. Able to get Granada to swing at that one. And that is Lucas Granada, who is up to bat. Count is now 1-2. The mild rainfall has been steady here the past couple of minutes. A little high makes it 2-2. I want to correct myself really fast. This is actually number 2, Tristan Robinson at bat. Currently on first base is number 1, Lucas Granada. Robinson will walk to first. And that advances Granada to second.
Being in the 4th inning here, we'll see if the Knights stick with Stockton Hall. He's been doing a good job so far, but you also got to think about fatigue and these long pitch counts that he's facing.
Solid pitch there for Hall. Now batting for the Tornadoes is number 28, Mason Leon.
But again, don't count Stockton out. He's been getting ahead in the pitch count. 2 straight strikes to start again. He's fighting him off well.
That one drops a little low, makes it a 1-2 count. Again, 1 out and runners on first and second. Solid contact. It's the out at third, but safe at first.
It's a smart play by Will Parker, but the throw a little high. First baseman had to jump in and step off base.
Valiant effort there from number 21, Jackson Massey, to try to bring down the ball as fast as possible and get the tag, but again, wasn't quite able to get him quick enough.
And you'll see before that last pitch, Stockton Hall had to switch out baseballs with the umpire. Shows that the ball was a little wet after hitting the ground.
and safe at first.
It was an excellent throw to first base. If it was perfect, it would have been just a tad lower, but nonetheless a good effort.
At bat now for Brevard College is number 4, Zach Allison. Popped up into center field. Or center right, and it's brought down by Ty Martinez. So once again, the Knights are able to escape without giving up a single run, despite some great hits from Brevard College.
They're certainly a resilient team. They've gotten into lots of jams in almost every game, it seems like, this season, but they're able to find a way out of it yet again.
They absolutely are, as the score remains 1-0. And with this short break, I want to remind you, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know how we're doing and how we can improve your viewing experience of Southern Virginia athletics. And be sure to click that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting. So now here in the bottom of the 4th, at bat for Southern Virginia will be number 10, Will Parker.
And to touch on the story of this being the first conference game for both teams this year, Brevard was 8-9 in conference play last year, which is a solid record against a lot of strong teams in the USA South. So if the Knights are able to hold on and come out of this weekend with 2 victories at least, that shows a lot of improvement on the roster of the Knights.
Absolutely, and you mentioned that being a solid record in conference. That's absolutely correct. I mean, conference play, as I mentioned before, these teams all know each other so well. They play each other so many times throughout the year. And so if you're able to have that strong of a record, it shows you're doing something right. And like you said, if the Knights are able to continue to maintain this lead or even build upon this lead throughout all the way until the end of the game, then that really bodes well for you. That gives you a lot of confidence going into the rest of your conference play, and just shows you, hey, we can hang with a lot of these teams that have solid conference records. That one right down the middle from Anderson. That one a little to the outside, makes it a 1-1 count. That's a foul ball out the left side. And a strikeout for Anderson. Now up to bat for Southern Virginia's number 43, Nick Daines. Swings at that one. Will be strike 1. Nick Daines, one of only 2 Southern Virginia batters who has gotten a hit off of Anderson so far today.
That sinker from Anderson is really nice pitch so far. He's been able to get the Knights batters to swing pretty frequently on it.
That makes it a 1-1 count. A little bit of a low release from Anderson. That one also a little low, makes it a 2-2 count.
Good poison control by Nick Gaines to not bite on those last 2 pitches.
Makes some contact with a foul ball.
That one looked like it was in Nick's wheelhouse, but it must have dipped on him at the last second.
Makes contact with it. Another foul ball. You can see a little bit of frustration for Danes right now. Solid contact, stopped by shortstop, gets to the first and out.
It was a good throw to first, but good effort by Nick Daines. Almost got there in time.
Definitely sprinting as fast as he could to try to get there, but now up to bat for the Knights is number 20, Mitch Smith. He is 0 for 1 at bat today.
Got struck out in his first at bat. Let's see if he can read Anderson a little better this time around.
Nice contact picked up by the third baseman. Fortunate bounce for Smith. That'll be a single. Uncharacteristic poor throw from the infield of Brevard College. That was Vasquez who did a good job fielding it, but the throw was a little low, making it so that Oler couldn't quite get it off the bounce. Now it's Benji Horsley up to bat. That one a little high. Makes it a 2-0 count. That one an inside strike.
This is the first time the Knights have had someone on base since the first inning, so you really want to capitalize here.
Absolutely, you don't want opportunities like this to go to waste since they have been so rare and far and few in between. Another solid pitch for Anderson. That pitch makes it a 2-2 count. It's after throwing 2 straight balls to start things off. 2 straight strikes. That makes it a full count. Anderson felt that one as soon as it left his hand.
Despite that tough pitch right there, Anderson has shown a really good array of inside and outside pitches and has been able to hit them pretty well so far today.
Horse able to make some contact with a foul ball.
See, Mitch Smith is a little bit off the bag and wants to go early to second base to prevent any out.
That'll be strike 3. Horsley thought he was going to walk for a split second. But once again, another inning of no scoring for either side. Keeps the score 1-0 going into the top of the 5th. Again, it's just one of those games where it seems like both defenses have everything figured out and the batters are left just trying to grasp at anything.
Yeah, it's quickly turned into a pitching battle. The Knights got out to an early lead, but since then Anderson has been stout on the mound. And he essentially, you know, hasn't really allowed any hits since then.
Right.
Had Mitch Smith get on base there, but it's only because of an error. So he's been throwing excellent so far.
He really has, and you said it again, only giving up 2 hits so far. Southern Virginia only giving up 4 hits as well. So it's just a very much, if you're a fan of high batting averages in the game, if you're a fan of a lot of hits, home runs, this hasn't necessarily been the game for you. But if you have the opposite mentality where you like to see strong defensive play, great strategy at work, then you're in for a treat today, because that's exactly what today has been going into the 5th inning. Now to bat at the top of the batting order, number 6, Blake Burchett. Going right down the middle for Hall.
And as much as we've talked about Trenton Anderson for Brevard College, Stockton's been good too. He has 5 strikeouts, I think, so far. And he's been clutch in the closing stages of innings. Brevard's left 5 guys on base so far total in this game.
Now a little inside for Hall. Makes it a 2-1 count. That makes it a 3-1 count. That'll be a foul ball towards third base. Another foul ball. Keeps that at a full count.
That pitch was really nice looking, sunk a lot right as it got to the strike zone, forcing a foul ball.
And he'll walk. That's Burchett's 2nd time walking in today's game. And now up to bat is number 3, Luke Morton. Right down the middle for Hall. You love to see a type of response like that when you walk a batter, come back immediately and get a strike. That'll be a foul ball on the attempted bunt. Makes it an 0-2 count.
It's not a bad decision at all for Brevard to go for the bunt. As we talked about earlier, they've left a lot of guys on base to end innings, and they'll take anything just to advance a runner.
Absolutely, you can't discredit them for trying to do either a sacrifice bunt or just trying to put the bunt in a good location. And outside for Hall. Solid contact there. Not able to get the throw to first. So Burchett advances to third. And Morton gets to second. Again, great job at stopping the ball, but fumbling it on the way back up to try to make the throw. So now runners on 2nd and 3rd for the Tornadoes.
Yeah, that was a super tough play to make. I think Seth Lloyd, the base was to his back when he went to the ground to pick up the ball, and the pressure from the running coming to second caused an error at first base.
Solid contact that time. But able to get the run in. That's Burchett making it home. ties up at 1 run apiece. So number 15, Logan Clark, is out at first, but now it's a tie ball game. And a runner still on second, that is Morton. I love the smart play there from Burchett, seeing the opportunity and running for it. And of course, the throw a little bit to the outside definitely made it easier for him.
See, Nick Danes in center field was asked to move a little bit more to the left. So expect if he does connect with one of these pitches that might be going for center field or more to the right.
That one also a little outside, make it a 2-0 count. So for those just tuning in, we're in the top of the 5th inning. Scores tied 1 run to 1. And just 1 out. Little inside makes it a 3-0 count. I'd imagine within the next couple batters, if Stockton Hall isn't quite able to get back into a rhythm, maybe head coach Jerry Schlegelmelch will consider the possibility of putting in someone else.
And this will be an important at-bat right here. You've only got 1 out and runners on first and second base. You certainly don't want to have bases loaded with only 1 out.
Trying to get second, but nothing doing. At bat for the Tornadoes is number 19, Frankie Vasquez.
It was almost a good play at second to catch the runner leaning, but also a little dangerous, a little risky in case the ball bounced over Seth Lloyd's head at second.
That makes it a 2-0 count. That one just a little outside and low. That makes it a 3-0 count. So back-to-back batters where Stockton Hall goes 3 straight balls thrown. Nice response there. Makes it a 3-1 count.
And if there wasn't enough pressure, Cale Ehlers at the plate right now, who leads the team with 19 RBIs and 2 home runs, and there's another big hit right there.
And another run scored for the Tornadoes. Scoring that was number 3, Luke Morton.
And they'll come out to have a little chat with Stockton, who's done well in this game. So it's a tough moment here for him, but
indeed he will be replaced. And that was actually Vasquez with that hit into left field. So coming in for Stockton Hall will be number 42. That is Rock Giles. We've talked about him a little bit so far in today's game. This is his first time pitching today, but he's had a lot of success coming in. And again, he's got a sinker that is just fantastic to watch if you're a fan of solid pitching.
yeah, he's been a super efficient pitcher so far this year, and maybe the most valuable pitcher on the roster so far, with 11 strikeouts so far, including 5 against Everett on Tuesday.
So with this break, I want to remind you, watch this on Knight's broadcast, and be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know how we're doing and how we can improve this presentation or any presentation of Southern Virginia University athletics. And be sure to hit that notification bell that we get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knight's broadcasting. And so we'll see what Rock Giles is able to do today against number 1 Lucas Granada. First pitch for Giles is a ball. Right down the middle for Giles. Again, he doesn't have the fastest pitch out there, but he's got a lot of great accuracy. He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. We have foul ball. Makes it a 1-2 count.
And the runner on second, Cale Ayler, I think that is leaning pretty hard to third. Look for him to either steal or if there's a single, advance home.
That one a little low. Makes it a 2-2 count. And one thing we've seen a lot of from Rock Giles is whenever he's come into a game, at least most of the time that I've seen him enter, he struck out his first batter. Almost every single time, at least in these home contests that he's had. Again, very consistent, really able to get into a rhythm very quickly. That one just a little low, makes it a full count. That was close.
Thought that had it.
Into the infield. Tagged out on the way to second, and the out at first. Fantastic play for Southern Virginia. So the Tornadoes do now have the lead 2-1 over the Knights. But the Knights able to limit some of the damage. With this short break, I want to remind you, this is brought to you by Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. Be sure to go check them out. Great sodas, great treats, great times here in the great small town of Buena Vista, Virginia. If you need a great place to relax, great place to just hang out, or a great place to just, you know, fulfill your sweet tooth. Give your sweet tooth something nice. Dr. Pepper or a soda. Again, that's my drink of choice. Don't take my word for it, but again, go check out Straws Drinks and Eats. Straws, thank you so much for partnering with Southern Virginia Athletics. So, again, Brevard College kind of got the rhythm there, getting 2 runs in that inning. Southern Virginia needs something here. The last couple of innings, it's really been stagnant for them offensively.
Yeah, this is when the Knights need to respond. They've only made their way through the batting order. This is only the second time, which just shows you how good of a job Brevard's defense has been doing, especially Trenton Anderson on the mound. And they've got a couple of heavy hitters here with the next 2 batters, and let's see if they can send a couple to the fence or at least get on base.
And continuing to pitch for the Tornadoes is Trenton Anderson, who's had a fantastic day. 5 strikeouts so far. And up to bat for only the second time today is Marcelino Leonardo Jr., the freshman from Dajabon, Dominican Republic. Discussion happening between the umpires here.
But as you mentioned for Anderson, 5 strikeouts and only facing, this is his 15th batter. There were 14 batters previously before this one. So Anderson really fishing on the mound today.
So Leonardo will be on first. I believe he'd gotten hit with the pitch. But up to bat now is number 6, Ty Martinez. That swing and a miss makes it 1-1. This is Leonardo's first time on base. Down way to the inside for Anderson. Makes it a 2-1 count.
A pretty good spot for the Knights so far. It's 3 balls on this at bat with Leonardo on first. And fortunately for the Knights, when he gets on base, he's scored a few times, so good things happen.
And another walk. So Anderson is starting to struggle a little bit for the first time today. So now runners on first and second. That being Martinez on first and Leonardo on second. With number 12, St. John Johnson up to bat.
And that's another thing about these games. You can seem unstoppable for a few innings, but things can turn super quickly as the Knights have 2 on base already in this inning.
So that'll be a strike for Johnson. And hit on the helmet is Johnson. So suddenly bases loaded for the Knights.
And no outs.
With number 21, Jackson Massey, up to bat. It's like you said, Quinn, all of a sudden things can turn really quickly again, as we've seen Trenton Anderson have a really solid day up until this inning. There's conversations out here saying that Johnson kind of leaned in a little forward to the pitch, which an argument could be made there for sure. We have to look at the footage on that one, but as it stands right now, Johnson will be at first. So after a brief meeting of the infield, Brevard College will get back to business.
And if the Knights can get a hit or get Jackson Massey on base as well, that'll bring 1 run home. They're going back to the top of the order where they've had the most success so far hitting the ball.
Indeed, with Seth Lloyd on deck. That'll be ball 1. And also a little outside.
Yeah, he's definitely a little rattled on the mound there. SVU dugout making a lot of noise after each ball.
That one also a little high, but a lot of power behind that one. You could definitely argue he's taking a little frustration out on the ball on that throw.
And good job by Jackson Massey holding up. Check swing super close to swinging for that one.
Good response from Anderson. After it being a 3-0 count, throws it right down the middle for a strike. Of course, if Massey walks, that's also a run for Southern Virginia. Going for the double play. They won't get it. But the out at second and a run scored for Southern Virginia ties it up at 2 apiece.
And once again, that's Leonardo getting on the board for the Knights. His 5th run, I believe, scored on the season.
He's very accustomed to getting runs throughout the year, one of the leaders on the squad. So now runners on first and third for the Knights. And as you mentioned, Quinn, back to the top of the batting order with Seth Lloyd. Just one out. Though the Knights are very fortunate that the Tornadoes were not able to turn for the double play, as they were in a solid position, but Maxey was able to get to first really quickly.
Things seemed a little slow for the previous 3 innings, but it picked up rapidly here as it's getting super intense on the field.
Indeed, being the bottom of the 5th, you're hearing a lot more jawing from both dugouts. Right down the middle for Anderson. Makes that a 2-1 count. Making contact with that one. That'll be a foul ball. Makes it a 2-2 count. That one low from Anderson. Now it's a full count. And just like that, we're either 1 ball or 1 hit away from it being bases loaded once again. What a grab by Burchett. And Lloyd is out. My goodness, Burchett elevating to get that snag.
Yeah, that's a sweet catch. He jumped super high. I thought it was going to go about 3 or 4 feet over his head, but he came down with it. Almost got an out at first as well for the double play.
I mean, Burchett standing at 5'7", somehow able to elevate. And now with Parker up to bat for the Knights, that'll be a foul ball for Parker.
And that's huge by Burchett as well, because now you have 2 outs and you can't sacrifice to get a run home if you're the Knights. So with this thing knotted up at 2, it's a huge play in the middle of the field.
And you know, we had bases loaded just a few moments ago, and if the Knights come away from that situation only scoring 1 run, that's a huge victory for the Tornadoes. Especially considering how much Anderson had struggled in the early parts of the bottom of the 5th. Umpire not liking something that he saw. Martinez able to run home. And then Massey will advance to second. So another run scored for Southern Virginia. It'll make it 3 runs to 2.
And with Anderson struggling just a little bit this inning, you want to take advantage of that if you're the Knights, because you're likely going to face a new pitcher pretty soon.
Right. Again, it's about taking advantage of every opportunity that's given to you. Haven't had much from Anderson so far today. Now he's giving you a nice open window. That strike makes it a 1-2 count. Parker will make some contact.
And if Will Parker can fight this off and get on base, that brings up Nick Danes, who has had a hit early in this game against Anderson.
Again, like we mentioned before, one of only 2 batters to get a hit off of Anderson. So like you said, Quinn, as Anderson is struggling, you get someone up who's had some success against him when he was in a rhythm. That could bode well for the Knights. Now it's a full count.
Wow. I was inside pretty far, but called it a strike.
So it'll take us to the top of the 6th. Indeed, you're absolutely right. It looked very inside from our angle where we're sitting. But again, we've talked about the umpires have favored that inside range or inside area of the strike zone heavily today. And so the Knights come away with scoring 2 runs in the 5th inning, which, again, they had lost the lead in the previous inning, and so they did what they had to do to take it back. And, again, it's been so stagnant for a lot of the game. But the 5th inning was very eventful. A total of 4 runs scored for both teams combined, whereas in the previous 4 innings, there had only been 1 run scored.
Yeah, a really good response from the Knights. You could imagine the Knights, after giving up the lead so quickly there, of, you know, just lacking confidence and laying down. But it's a great response. And we'll see if they see any more of Anderson the rest of the day.
Indeed, we'll have to see. The fact that he's able to get out of that situation maybe will convince them to give him a couple of pitches in the bottom of the 6th. But I can't imagine much longer than that, if I'm being quite honest with you. But we have Giles now pitching once again for the Knights. Had a solid outing in the top of the 5th as he filled in for Stockton Hall.
And we'll see if Rock Giles can find that sweet spot in the strike zone, just as Anderson did. Anderson able to find that inside of it pretty nicely and get guys to swing, or caught looking, just as he did against Will Parker.
Count is now 1-1. That makes it a 1-2 count. Hit right to Daines. So Robinson makes solid contact, but right to Daines, who we mentioned before has had a solid outing in center field today. Now up to bat for the Tornadoes is number 28, Mason Lyon. More solid contact. A lot of hang time. Daines catches that one as well. And much like Martinez in the previous inning on the hit to right field, Nick Daines didn't have to travel far for that one.
It's a good-looking pitch to the left by Rock Giles. He's been stout yet again in a return to the mound.
Now batting for the Tornadoes is number 4, Zach Allison. And he'll be followed up by number 6, Blake Burchett, at the top of the batting order. Count is now 2-2 with 2 outs. Giles really thought that was right down the middle, but that makes it a full count. And Allison will walk to first. Back-to-back pitches where Giles thought he had it. But now up to bat will be number 6, Blake Burchett. He's the one that had that fantastic snag at second base in the previous inning. I believe it was off the bat of Seth Lloyd. That fastball a little low. That one drops a little low as well. That makes it a 2-0 count. There's 1 runner on base, 2 outs. And for those just tuning in, the score stands 3 runs to 2 in favor of the Knights here in the top of the 6th. That strike makes it a 2-1 count.
It's a clutch throw inside by Giles, getting 1 strike instead of a 3rd ball.
That one low and bounces around. And that advances. Advances number 4, Zach Allison, to second. So right now the count stands 3-1. Pass popped up to center right. Dane's able to get off the bounce. Another run scored for the Tornadoes. That'll be a double for Burchett. Ties it up at 3 apiece.
That shot to right field had quite a bit of hang time, but Nick Dames just wasn't able to get over in time.
I think there's also a little bit of miscommunication between Martinez and Danes, as both saw each other running towards it. It makes you a little hesitant to sprint for the ball, as of course you obviously don't want to collide with your teammate in the outfield.
Yeah, it split both of them just perfectly right in the middle.
So Giles will come out rather quickly, despite having quite a bit of success in the previous inning. We'll see who they place on the pitcher's mound. It is number 18, that being Stone Robinson, the freshman from Haysburg, Mississippi.
And Stone, another really tall pitcher that we talked about earlier, where you can get guys guessing that that release can be super heavy and quick.
Indeed, Robinson standing at 6'5". And also being a left-handed pitcher, which also throws a little bit of monkey wrench into things, because again, as a batter, you kind of get familiar with a pitcher, with their tendencies and where their ball tends to slide on their pitches. But now you got someone coming in with a left hand, so the trajectory is going to be different. The height is different. I mean, you go from Rock Giles, who stands at 5'7", to Stone Robinson, who stands at 6'5", and going again from right hand to left hand. You can't get much more drastic of a change as far as the pitching situation is concerned.
Yeah, it's a good point, and we'll see how the Brevard batters are able to adjust to that. And that could be what the coaching staff of SVU is thinking. Brevard, the last couple of innings, they've been able to get into a bit of a groove. So let's see if they can throw them off.
Indeed, I'm sure that is the approach here for Southern Virginia. Up to bat for the Tornadoes is number 3, Luke Morton, the sophomore from Wake Forest, North Carolina. Robinson's got a little bit of sidearm action going on.
Luke Morton coming in today with a solid .447 batting average. Bodes well for Brevard with a runner on second already.
That one a little low. That makes it a 2-0 count. That one also a little low. And that's the thing with the sidearm approach as well, is that your release is lower than it typically would be. So you kind of have to have the trajectory a little bit higher on release. Able to narrow it down that time. Makes it a 3-1 count. He hit straight to first. Easy third out. So although the Tornadoes are able to tie it back up at 3 runs apiece, we go into the bottom of the 6th. And the Knights have a chance to respond once again. They're able to get some things going in the 5th inning, scoring 2 runs of their own. We'll see if the Tornadoes keep the same pitcher they had from the previous inning.
And it's good for the Knights to stop the bleeding there and hopefully put the pressure on Brevard now with a new pitcher coming in.
Pitching now for the Tornadoes is number 11. That is Cesar Rodriguez, the junior from Hialeah, Florida.
And again, a big contrast here compared to Stone Robinson. They're both left-handed pitchers, but have about, what, 8 inches in difference in height. So we'll see how the Knights adjust to that.
And Rodriguez also goes more overhand rather than the sidearm style that Robinson has. And so like you said, whenever you go up against a new pitcher, it's basically like a reset button. You kind of have to relearn certain approaches, certain tendencies, and especially later in a game like this, bottom of the 6th, it forces you to readjust rather quickly, rather than the slow, methodical approach you have at the beginning of a game where the pitcher's going to be in there for a couple of innings. You know that and you can kind of get a chance to get used to it. But now that you're in a tie ball game, 3 runs to 3, and this late in the game, you need something. You need to make sure that you can get back in the lead, or if you get that lead, to extend that lead. Not a whole lot of time to adjust.
Yeah, and having said all of that, it leads to a super interesting last 3 or 4 innings. The game tied at 3. Should be fun the last few innings here.
And this is Nick Daines up to bat. Daines is 1 for 2 today. That one a little inside. I'm a little surprised that the umpires didn't call that a strike, because again, he has been favoring that inside area quite a bit. That one slid a little to the bottom right corner. It'll make it a 3-0 count.
Almost mirror image to how Stone Robinson started. 3 consecutive balls.
Right down the middle. Solid contact from Daines, but that'll be a foul ball. Again, you like the contact that he got there. You just want him to level it out just a little bit, as now he has a full count.
And it was good placement on the far side of the field. He might have been able to get to second base if it stayed fair.
More solid contact. Daines pops that one up, hangs a little too much in the air. The out number 1. Now up to bat for Southern Virginia is number 20, Mitch Smith. The man who brought that one down is number 4, Zach Allison, out in right field. Foul ball for Smith. More solid contact, but that's popped up. But a great positioning. Again, it's just that perfect location where the first baseman's running into the outfield, has to look over his shoulder. The outfielder's a little further away, so he can't quite make it there. Great placement there if you're going to pop it up.
Yeah, it's one of those odd plays where it's not hit very far, but it has enough arc to where it's tough for the first baseman to track it and unfortunately hit the ground before he could get there in time.
So now up to bat for the Knights is number 44, Benji Horsley.
Benji's got a big swing, having hit one home run so far this season, but is 0 for 2 today.
Actually, they had made a substitution in the lineup here. Instead of Benji Horsley, it is number 33, Tyson Toller, the senior second baseman from Syracuse, Utah. So he will be substituted in for Benji in the lineup, I'd assume, for the remainder of today's game. You mentioned Benji had struggled a little bit at bat. So I'm going to see if Ty can try to remedy some of that. That strike makes it an 0-2 count.
And he's a senior, so he's got experience. Hopefully he can bring that in and help, at least help Mitch Smith advance to second early in the inning.
Again, only one out here in the bottom of the sixth. And a strikeout. And now up to bat will be Leonardo. Marcelino Leonardo Jr. He got on base the last time he was at bat. So now with 2 outs, Knights hoping to get something going so that they're not 3 up, 3 down. Oh, pardon me, it wouldn't be 3 up, 3 down because Smith had the hit off to the right side into right field. But you don't want to go back in the dugout relatively quickly. Solid contact there by Leonardo. Nice single that advances Smith to second. Now with 2 runners on base, you have number 6, Ty Martinez, up to bat.
That's an important hit by Leonardo, because even though the Knights had success an inning ago, a lot of those were errors, unforced errors, and hit by pitch. So nice solid hit to the outfield is what the Knights needed.
There's actually another substitution in the lineup here as well. This is number 23 for Southern Virginia. That is Jake Watson. So it's like a couple different changes made in the lineup for Southern Virginia.
Jake, he's had just 9 at-bats so far this season, but has 3 hits. So pretty good odds here for him to help the Knights score. He also has 2 runs.
And that also makes sense considering the fact that we've mentioned before that within a span of 48 hours, these 2 teams will play 3 times, including this one. So you have plenty of time to get other batters a chance to see what they can do against these different pitchers for Brevard and vice versa. A lot of things you can play around with in this 3-game series. That one right down the middle, make it a 3-1 count. Watson just being patient. Again, you have Leonardo at first and Smith at second. Solid contact out into right field, but that'll actually be foul ball. Impressively, we saw one of the players from Brevard College that is currently not on the field catch that one with his ball cap. That makes it a full count. Looks like we had the count wrong, or at least they're checking the count now. I believe with that one, it made, actually, I believe the ball may have hit the handle of the bat. I believe is what happened there. Wasn't very easy to hear. Nice contact. They'll be out at first. That'll be out number 3. So the Knights not able to get any runs on the board in the 6th inning as we move to the top of the 7th. The score still stands 3 runs to 3. Just 2 innings remaining for both these squads. Try and see who can win their first conference game of the season. Because again, we've talked about the importance of conference games, how much they mean to the players, how much they mean for you for the rest of the season as far as momentum is concerned. But again, it's also one of those situations where in the game of baseball, you play a team several times in the span of 48 hours. So plenty of time to figure things out and correct the ship or right the ship if you need to. But honestly, from what I've seen today, both teams have really displayed some fantastic work, both defensively and offensively. They both have their spurts, getting a couple hits together, getting a couple runs, and both have shown quality pitching as well. It's like you said at the beginning, Quinn, just a great match with teams that share a lot of similar strengths.
Yeah, they're both very balanced, and we've seen good pitching today, good defensive plays, and both teams have shown in the past that they know how to hit and hit big. So this is a great matchup for the Knights to play Brevard here in the first one. Last year they played NC Wesleyan, a powerhouse in the conference who ended up being the runner-up last year. The Knights played them in their first 3 games in conference play and ended up losing all 3 last year, which got them off to a slow start, and sometimes it's hard to come back from that. So it's nice to see 2 even and very balanced teams going at it for 3 games to start off conference play.
Absolutely. So now up to bat for the Tornadoes is number 15, Logan Clark, the junior from St. Petersburg, Florida, playing in the outfield today. Again, top of the 7th. Scores tied 3 runs to 3. And again, pitching for Southern Virginia is Stone Robinson. He came in relief of Rock Giles in the previous inning. That pitch makes it a 2-0 count.
And Logan Clark, one of the heavy hitters for Brevard College this year, comes in today with 1 home run and 16 RBIs to his name.
That makes it a 2-2 count. Clark able to make some contact there, but a foul ball. Solid hit into right field. Snagged by number 8, Luke Roberts, who's filling in for Ty Martinez in right field. So 1 out there. Now with Cale Oler up to bat.
He leads the team in RBIs with 19 and 2 home runs. Good start for Stone Robinson to get rid of one of their top hitters early on.
Bounce towards the fence for Oler. That'll be a double for him. So you mentioned putting away one of their stronger batters, then Oler comes right in with a solid hit to right field. Looked like for a second that it may bounce over the fence. But now up to bat for Tornadoes is number 19, Frankie Vasquez.
And the Knights making another pitching change. That's number 5, Dawson Jones, I think. And this is new territory for the Knights. They haven't had to make a lot of pitching changes in games very often due to super consistent pitching.
Indeed, Dawson Jones, a freshman, plays a lot of shortstop. He's from Stewart's Draft, Virginia. And we'll see what he can do. I believe this is the first time we've seen him pitch in a home game this year. And once again, he'll be going up against number 19, Frankie Vasquez, who so far today is 2 for 3. Really had a phenomenal day at bat.
And for Brevard College, in the last few innings, there's been a theme of hitting balls to right field. Early on, they were hitting a lot towards Seth Lloyd and Will Park on the left side of the field. Didn't have too much success, but they've been able to get on base a lot and get guys home, shooting it out to right field.
Indeed, you're right. They have definitely trended in that area because, like you mentioned, in the first couple innings, Lloyd was, we said his name all the time when it came to Southern Virginia defensively. Now it seems like it's been forever, at least several innings since we've said his name at all when it comes to infield play. So definitely that is, in my opinion, absolutely a intentional change made that they discussed in the dugout, saying, hey, we got to make sure we hit more to the right side. And Vasquez, I mentioned him having a solid day so far. He's got 2 hits, 1 RBI, and he struck out once as well. So we'll see what he's able to do against Dawson Jones. That one a little outside for Jones.
And we'll see if the pitching change for the Knights forces Brevard's hitters to hit more to the left.
That one a little low to the outside. Starts off with a 2-0 count. Solid contact made. An odd bounce. So it'll be a single. And they get a runner to advance to third. As Oler, who is now in scoring position. So now to bat is number 1, Lucas Granada. Got a little pickle here. Also have to be mindful of Oler at third. And with the error on the pickle, it'll allow Oler to get the run. That's a questionable decision there to really try to track him down in between first and second when you have a runner on third, when any minor mistake can result in exactly what we just saw, a run scored for the Tornadoes.
Yeah, that might have been intentional by Brevard, distracting the Knights in order to get the runner on third base home.
That one a little low. So now you have Vasquez on first base. And once again, Granada at bat. If those are just recently tuning in, that one run give Brevard College the 4-run-to-3 advantage here in the top of the 7th.
And this puts the Knights in a tough spot too. One runner on base, only one out. And this has been the more successful part of the batting order for Brevard.
That one a little outside. Dawson Jones kind of struggling to find the strike zone so far. That makes it a 2-1 count. That one low to the outside. Dawson Jones is really releasing across his body so that it really travels towards the left side. Another solid hit. It'll be a single for Granada. So now you got Vasquez at second, Granada at first. You got number 2, Tristan Robinson, up to bat.
Yeah, that's a perfectly placed ball in left field, but honestly a fortunate bounce for the Knights in right field as it bounced off the grass right into the mitt, which prevented the runner from advancing from second to third. I think that was sophomore David Hunley making the play to third.
And like you said, it could have been a lot worse for Southern Virginia had they not played that as well as they did. You could be looking at a 2-run lead for Brevard College. That popped up and brought down by Mitch Smith.
It's a really nice play behind the shoulder catch. Arced up really high in the air and good communication with the outfielders as well.
Indeed, that is a very difficult catch to manage. You're running basically behind you, looking over your shoulder, and you do see other sports where you have to catch things over your shoulder like football or basketball, but of course, the ball you're trying to catch in those sports is a lot bigger. Quick throw to first.
And with it being overcast today, it might be a little more difficult to see the ball.
Yeah.
Rather than having a clear blue sky. So an excellent play by Mitch Smith.
The count is 1-0 with 2 outs. And batting for Brevard College is Mason Lyon.
And while Brevard's applying the pressure right now, if you're the Knights, you've seen this before. You've been in big holes in games that are bigger than this. So they just need to relax and focus on the batter and have an opportunity to match it next inning.
That makes the count 1-2. Solid contact made there. Lloyd able to field it, gets the out at second. So although the Tornadoes were able to take the lead 4 runs to 3, they left a lot of runners on base. And for Southern Virginia, you're very fortunate and very happy to get out of that situation. Again, only giving up 1 run in that inning.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been the theme of the game for Brevard. As well as they've played, they have left a lot of runners on base. And the Knights need to take advantage of that. And for Brevard, hopefully it doesn't come back to bite them later on.
So now we're at the bottom of the 7th. Again, score is 4 runs to 3 in favor of the Tornadoes. And during this break, I want to remind you, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know how we're doing and how we can improve your viewing presentation of Southern Virginia athletics. And be sure to click that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting here with us today. And up to bat for Southern Virginia will be number 12, St. John Johnson. And St. John hasn't had a whole lot of luck today at bat. He is 0 for 1 so far. And hopefully he can try to get things started for Southern Virginia. Again, the key right now is to get somebody on base before you get your first out. Because again, you want to tie things back up or take the lead. You just need to do something because, again, it's been very inconsistent for you because you had 1 run scored in the first inning. Then you went 3 straight innings without any runs. Then 2 runs in the 5th and haven't had a run since. So you want to maintain some kind of consistency here in the last couple of innings to end this one.
Yeah, they need to do something similar of what they did to Averett on Tuesday. In a similar position, really. They have 3 runs right now, and 2 of those, or 1 of those came super early on. In Averett, they only had 1 run after 7 innings. So once again, they've been here before, and they need to figure out a way to get on base early.
And continuing to pitch for the Tornadoes is number 11, Cesar Rodriguez, who's had a decent amount of success since stepping in. That one a little low. Making contact with that one, but it'll be a foul ball. See if they can make a play on the infield here. Indeed, they will. That's Burchett able to field that one. So quick 1 out here. And now to bat is number 21, Jackson Massey, the senior from Mountain City, Texas.
And the Knights have hit towards Burchett a lot recently, and it's not working out for them. He's not a super big guy in the field, but he's been able to gather everything the Knights are throwing towards him.
Including able to elevate what felt like a couple of feet in the air
yeah.
to snag one a couple innings ago. Popped straight up by Massey. Brought down by the 3rd baseman. So 2 quick outs. And now back to the top of the batting order with Seth Lloyd.
It's exactly what Brevard College wants. They've forced a lot of quick innings for the Knights, and they've done the same so far here.
And again, with only 2 innings remaining at this point, you got to figure some things out. You got to get some things going for you offensively, because Brevard College has been in a groove. They haven't been able to capitalize on all the opportunities, like we mentioned, leaving a lot of runners on base, but they've been able to get enough to the point where they have a 1-run lead.
Exactly, and the Knights, they've had the bounces, as we talked about. A lot of the guys they got on base in the last couple of innings were hit by a pitch or unforced errors in the infield.
The count is now 1-1. That one a little high from Rodriguez. Solid contact made there. That's a foul ball. And that came flying off of Seth Lloyd's bat.
That was a nice swing there.
I believe he could have leveled it out just a little bit. You could have seen that clearing the fences. It's up into center field. Not as much power behind it. Brought down by number 15, Logan Clark. So 3 quick outs. Brevard College get back to bat. Moves us to the top of the 8th inning. And Dawson Jones will remain pitching for Southern Virginia. And the Tornadoes look to build off the success they had in the previous inning. And with that, I want to thank our athletic partner, Straws Drinks and Eats, here in Buena Vista, Virginia. If you're visiting the area, whether you're visiting campus or you're visiting just the area in general in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains and going on the fantastic hikes we have around this area, be sure to stop by and get a refreshing drink or treat from Straws Drinks and Eats. Fantastic place for great food, Great drinks and great times. Thank you so much, Straws Drinks and Eats, for partnering with Southern Virginia Athletics. So again, now you're in the last 2 innings. You had a chance to respond in both the bottom of the 8th and the bottom of the 9th. And you've had no offensive success the past 3 innings. You haven't scored a run since the 5th. I mean, at this point, you have to have the most consistent pitching you've had all day. You got to get quick 3 up, 3 down, or maybe 4 up, 3 down, something to that extent, and get back at bat. It gets something going offensively, because it just hasn't been working out for Southern Virginia right now.
Yeah, 3 up, 3 down is quite deflating for the Knights. I think that's the 3rd or 4th time they've done that today. So they need a quick response and get their defense off the field quickly so they can respond later on.
Now, number 4, Zach Allison, up to bat for the Tornadoes. We're at the bottom of the Tornado batting lineup.
Zach Allison was able to get to home plate and score an inning or 2 ago.
That pitch makes it a 2-0 count. You know, Jones he's gotten to the general area where he needs to be, but hasn't quite been in the area where the umpire likes since he's been put on the mound. Must have heard me from all the way out there. Corrects it right there. That makes it a 2-1 count. A swing and a miss there for Allison.
It'll be important for Dawson Jones to get through a couple of batters early. Brevard scored in the last 3 consecutive innings, 4 runs total. So they seem pretty comfortable with the pitchers on the mound for the Knights.
That one veered a little outside. That makes it a full count. And a strikeout for Jones. If you're Southern Virginia, you love to see it. That's exactly what you need right now. Some confident pitching from Jones. Now back to the top of the batting lineup, number 1, Blake Burchett. That one a little low from Jones, and after Burchett will be number 3, Luke Morton. That pitch hits Burchett, and he will walk to first. So after the strikeout, the Knights now have a runner on first in the form of Burchett to deal with.
And Burchett, he's been the kryptonite of the Knights so far this afternoon. He's been at bat 5 times, has 2 hits, 2 base on balls, and just got hit there. So he's managed to get to first base 5 times so far today.
And he's got 1 RBI and 1 run scored as well. So like you said, just getting it all done for the Tornadoes. Now we have Luke Morton up to bat. And a strike there for Jones.
It's a good pitch by Dawson Jones, maybe recognizing the potential bunt. Throwing it inside for a strike.
A little outside. And safe at second as Lloyd is coming down with the catch. Basically got swept off his feet in an unpleasant way.
Yeah, it was a high throw, super tough to come down with, but I actually thought Lloyd came down and tagged him in time, but umpire thought otherwise.
So now you have a runner on second to deal with a 1-1 count. Nice pitch from Jones. That makes it 1-2. And there's 1 out. The Tornadoes still have the 4-runs-to-3 lead.
Seth Lloyd playing a little closer to second base.
And a little bit of odd communication there as Jones initially went for the short hit. And Seth Lloyd was forced to come up. Well, I guess the ball was outside of Dawson Jones' reach, and so Seth Lloyd had to come up and try to help out. By that point, you know, you had Morton already 3/4 the way to first base. Then you don't want a wild throw to first base, which would allow the runner on third base, of course, that being Burchett, to get another run.
Yeah, I don't think that kind of a hit is what Morton intended, but it's just right in the perfect spot where Dawson Jones couldn't reach it, and fortunately for the Tornadoes, turns into a base hit.
Now up to bat will be number 15, Logan Clark. Be a foul ball. Clark has 1 RBI on the day. He's been struck out once. He's been walked once as well.
So it's crunch time for the Knights here. They really don't want to go down 2 runs since they've struggled to score all day long. And with only 1 out, there's a runner on third, close to advancing.
And again, I say this all the time when it comes to having a runner on third. This puts an added stress to a pitcher more than he already has. I think you pointed this out in the last game we commentated together, Quinn, that you see that runner in your peripheral vision, and that makes you think just a split second more. Once again, a high throw to Lloyd at second. Birch will have an easy time getting another run. And a runner advancing to third as well. That is number 3, Morton, now at third. So just like you said, Quinn, exactly what the Knights did not want to have happen. They are now down by 2 runs. Got the infield scooting up here. Easy catch for number 21, first baseman Jackson Massey. Again, didn't even have to move.
Yeah, I recognize that maybe there's going to be a sacrifice bunt there to get the runner home. Perfect spot for Massey.
And that was Clark on that hit. Now to bat for the Tornadoes is number 26, Cale Oler.
The second base play has been tough for the Knights all day. I don't know if it's because maybe the ball is wet and it's a little slippery, but they've had trouble executing that throw.
And a strike there against Oler. Oler's another Tornado player that has gotten a run today. Another swing for Oler. Dawson Jones has caught Oler reaching a couple of times for those. That'll be a foul ball. Keeps it at an 0-2 count. That's got a lot of power behind it. Dane's able to track it down, though. Get the third out as we go to the bottom of the 8th. For a split second there, it looked like they might have the power to go all the way over the fence for a home run.
Looked like it, but it was good communication by David Hunley in right field to let Nick Danes know they had plenty of room in front of the fence. But yeah, that was a scary moment for the Knights.
So again, going to the bottom of the 8th, the score stands 5-3 in favor of the Tornadoes. As once again, the Knights batters will face off against number 11, Cesar Rodriguez. And we'll see number 10, Will Parker, up to bat for Southern Virginia. And Parker's been struck out twice today of the 3 times he's been at bat. Real quick with this short break, want to remind you you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know how we're doing and how we can improve your viewing presentation of Southern Virginia athletics. And be sure to click that notification bell. That way YouTube notifies you every single time we go live with a Southern Virginia athletic event. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting. I want to give a shout out to our producers, our camera workers, all those that make Knights Broadcasting a possibility. We appreciate you and all that you do. So, again, I mentioned before, I'll say it again. You have this and one other time, one opportunity at bat if you're Southern Virginia. You find yourselves down by 2 runs. If you're in the dugout, what are you telling your players? I mean, you're probably telling them something along the lines of, it's got to start now, guys.
Well, absolutely. They've struggled, which we've seen before this season, but we've also seen their upside.
Right.
And if I'm telling the players, there's 2 good things. Right now, they're in a good part of the batting order. Will Parker's up, I think, right now. And next is Nick Daines, Mitch Smith, Leonardo's in there, and they've all gotten base hits today. And then 2 is being the second team to bat, you had the full 9 innings to tie it and hopefully take the lead.
Solid hit there for Parker into left field. That'll be a single.
It's exactly the start that the Knights need.
And, Parker made that look easy. Wasn't reaching for that one. It was right where he wanted it. Able to make solid contact.
No hesitation.
And that is his first hit of the day. Now up to bat is Nick Daines. That brings the Knights' hit total to a total of 5 compared to 9 for Brevard. That low pitch makes it a 1-1 count, as the first pitch was a strike. Now it's popped straight up. But it'll be a foul ball as it goes behind the stands. That makes it a 1-2 count.
And it can be noted that 2 of the last 4 wins for SVU have been come from behind victories. So they have it in them to be clutch here in the 8th and 9th innings, just like they did at Everett on Tuesday.
Right, definitely not unfamiliar territory to say the least. So kind of like what you're suggesting, they're not panicking. They know we've been here, we don't like being in this position, but we know we can get ourselves out of it.
It'll be key here to get Will Parker to second base with only 0 or 1 outs to start the inning, the bottom of the inning.
That pitch makes it a full count. And like you said, the Knights are in a good part of the batting order with Daines, Smith, Roberts, who was inserted in the previous inning, as well as Leonardo. That's got a lot of air underneath it, hitting the center field. That is brought down by number 15, Logan Clark. So that'll make it 1 out. With Will Parker still at first base.
Nick's made good contact with the ball today, but a couple of them just too much air underneath him.
And now up to bat for Southern Virginia, Mitch Smith. He's also got one hit. He's been struck out once.
Even though it was a ball, that was a really nice looking pitch, almost sunk into the strike zone.
Solid swing there for Smith. But it ended up being a 1-1 count, excuse me. Had to reach a little low for that one. That makes it 1-2. That one a little outside, evens it up at 2. Solid contact there. They're able to turn to 1. Be safe at first, but Parker will be out at second. So 2 outs now. That's really unfortunate because, again, you wanted to advance Parker to second, get yourself in scoring position, as now you have Roberts up to bat, but now you're kind of back to where you just were, back to square one. This is Roberts' first time at bat today. Luke Roberts, the sophomore from San Diego, California. That first pitch was a strike, making it an 0-1 count. Another strike. Want to make a correction. It is not Luke Roberts. Instead, it is number 13, David Hunley, sophomore from Pulaski, Virginia. And this is his first time at bat. Just a little confusion with the batting lineups and statistics, but we got that figured out. Make some contact, getting it to second. It'll be out at second. So once again, 3 quick outs. Able to get some contact on the bat. You had Parker almost advanced to second. Then you had Smith get a single as well. But now you're going to the 9th inning. Time is starting to run out if you're the Knights. The score still remains 5 runs to 3, excuse me, in favor of the Tornadoes. And we'll see if the Tornadoes can continue to expand their lead, or if the Knights can buckle down defensively like they did in the previous inning. Want to once again give a thank you to our athletic partners, Straws Drinks and Eats, here in Buena Vista, Virginia. You hear us talk about it all the time here on Knights Broadcasting. Well, there's a reason for that, because, well, we just like Straws Drinks and Eats. They're a fantastic place to go. Great drinks, great treats, and great times. Highly, highly recommend. Thank you so much, Straws Drinks and Eats, for partnering with Southern Virginia Athletics. So up to bat for the Tornadoes will be number 19, Frankie Vasquez.
It'll be interesting to see how Dawson Jones approaches the next couple of batters. They've had a lot of success. Frankie Vasquez so far is 2 for 4.
Indeed, Vasquez has 1 RBI out of those 2 hits. He's been struck out once. That pitch a little low from Jones. That pitch also a little low. That makes it a 2-0 count. 3 straight low pitches from Jones. We saw that was also a struggle for the previous pitcher in Stone Robinson. 4 straight balls, and Vasquez a walk.
Yeah, it's a tough sequence there, trying to get him to bite. But Brevard, they're batting with a lot of confidence and extremely patient to get the walk to first.
Now up to bat for Brevard is number 1, Lucas Granada. Granada's also got 2 hits. See Dawson Jones able to get that pitch a little higher. Another low pitch from Jones. Good contact there, gets it past the third baseman. So now runners will be on first and second, with Vasquez on second.
See, Will Parker is really playing the line there, and it left the middle of the field open. Just barely got by his outreached arm.
So now up to bat is number 2, Tristan Robinson. You're absolutely right, just played it a little too far, or too close to the line. Solid bunt there. A sacrifice bunt to advance the runners to second and third.
And Brevard, they'll take that. They're very pleased with that at bat. Doesn't matter if he's out at first, but they advanced runners to second and third in scoring position.
Now to bat for I believe there was some sort of violation here as Mason Lyon will go to first. Lyon will have a designated runner for him.
Typically in recent home games, we've seen the Knights perform very well when opposing runners are in scoring position, but they've had a couple of errors today and have struggled to get off the field. Hopefully they can right the ship here.
And the designated runner for the Tornadoes on first base is Fumero. Number 12 being Peter Fumero. It's actually number 4, Zach Allison, who is at bat for the Tornadoes. Count is now 0-2. Popped up in the center right. Good catch there from Luke Roberts.
It's an excellent throw to home base. Right on the money. It was low, near the base, and prevented a runner from advancing home.
Indeed, fantastic play there for Southern Virginia. You know, it's not one of those that'll necessarily make the highlight reel or anything like that, but as far as game or plays you need to make in order to give yourself a chance, that's one of them right there. So 2 outs now here in the top of the 9th. And honestly, if you want any chance of coming back in this game, you got to make sure that there are no extra runs given to Brevard College. And that's exactly what will happen as 2 runs score for the Tornadoes. Make it a 7-3 lead. A fantastic hit from number 6, Blake Burchett. I mean, Burchett, again, we've talked about him. He has absolutely been phenomenal in today's game, both offensively and defensively. Scored 2 runs, has 2 hits, 1 RBI. And defensively, again, making a lot of great plays at second base. Now to bat is number 3, Luke Morton.
And you got to be careful here with the runner advancing to home. Fortunately, they put runner back on first and no errors occurred. I've seen that twice now. Brevard trying to goad the infielders of the Knights into playing catch along first and second. Tried to sneak a runner from third into home plate for the score. But really can't afford any other runners to get home, as the deficit is already at 4.
Which is, considering the scoring, I guess, trend that has been happening in this game, is a lot to ask from any individual team in a single inning. Has to throw it home. And another run scored for the Tornadoes. They didn't get the out at second or the out at home.
I don't know if he stuffed out the bag at second, but the ump ruled it safe. It's an unfortunate break.
You can see Mitch Smith trying to plead his case. So like you said, exactly what they could not afford to have happen indeed happened, as the lead is now increased to a 5-run lead, the score being 8-3. Whereas for Brevard College, you talk about trying to close out a game. This is how you do it.
Yep. And yet another stolen base. Make that 4 or 5 for the Tornadoes today.
Their base running has been phenomenal so far today.
Really good strategy from the coaching staff. They struggled to get on base early in the game, but once they did, they made no mistake. On that previous play, when they didn't get the run out at second, I don't know if, I think there was 2 outs already, so I'm not sure if Seth Lloyd forgot that, because it seemed like he was thinking about the runner going home instead of focusing on getting the runner out at second.
Because again, there are 2 outs, so they're trying to make the one play to get back to the dugout and get back to bat. That pitch a little low to the outside, making it a 3-1 count.
Yeah, and at this point, if you're the Knights, you just want to stop the bleeding. You want to build off something at the end of this game, considering you have another doubleheader tomorrow against the same team.
Beautiful right down the middle. You could hear that pitch making contact with the catcher's glove from a mile away.
It'd be nice to see if Dotson can get a strikeout here. He's been fighting with batters all day since he came in. And
now with a full count. See if they can get the easy play to first. Indeed they do. So after giving up 3 runs in the top of the 9th, once again the lead stands at 8-3 in favor of the Tornadoes. Bottom of the 9th. Again, this is a situation where, again, the Knights have shown they're capable of coming back from a deficit. They've shown they're able to go on a little bit of a run, get some runners on base, make a couple of smart moves as far as stealing bases is concerned. And it's not impossible. We've seen more improbable things happen. I mean, I continue to harp back onto the time when Ty Martinez had a home run and a grand slam all in the same inning. So things like that can happen.
Certainly, and you know, yeah, just as you were saying, the Knights, they've scored 5 or more runs in multiple innings before. So it's doable. So you just got to keep looking ahead.
And kicking things off for Southern Virginia in the bottom of the 9th is number 28, Marcelino Leonardo. So if you're going to have someone start you off in an attempt to do something like that, he's your guy.
Yep, he's gotten on base. A solid strike to right field earlier in the day, and he scores. So you're exactly right, Dawson. He's a good guy to get them going.
And again, a lot about that is just, again, knowing you're capable of going on a streak, going on a little bit of a run. The thing is, though, is that it's been very difficult for Southern Virginia batters to do anything against Cesar Rodriguez. Ever since he stepped in place of both the pitchers that they've had so far today, the first one being Trenton Anderson, he's really done a phenomenal job at making sure to frustrate these batters for Southern Virginia, not really give up too much. In fact, again, the Knights still in single digits in hits with 5 compared to Brevard's 11 in today's game.
Yeah, Brevard's showing they're deep on the mound, and they really have outpitched the Knights today, which you can't say too often about SVU. They've mostly been the team that has been doing the outpitching.
So we'll see what Leonardo can do to try to orchestrate the comeback.
And that's a nice sinker right in the middle.
But of course, if you're a Brevard, you studied film on Southern Virginia. You know what they're capable of. You know to be extra careful and to make the plays that you need to. And again, you've been playing well all game long, so you know the plays you need to make. You're confident in your pitchers. They're thinking to themselves the same thing. We got this.
Yeah, they're definitely feeling good right now. They've got lots of confidence, and Leonardo caught swinging a couple of times there.
The count is now 0-2. Solid strike into center field. That'll be a single for Leonardo.
So Leonardo has been one of the few bright spots for the Knights today with his second hit today into right field.
And now up to bat for Southern Virginia is number 8, Luke Roberts. He'll be followed up by St. John Johnson. Right down the middle for Rodriguez. Making good contact, but that'll be a foul ball.
And I think if the Knights were able to get at least a couple of runs here in this inning, that can go a long way. Even if they don't get the big comeback that they're looking for, they've played well this season. They'll probably be the first ones to say that they had a below average game hitting the ball. But getting at least a couple of runs here can really boost their confidence going into the doubleheader tomorrow.
And again, that's the big thing too. Even if Southern Virginia is not able to surmount the comeback that Southern Virginia fans hope they will, you got to take away the positive things you've had today. You look at the 3 straight innings where you shut out Brevard College, where you played fantastic defense, where you're pitching really, really well. Learn from what worked there, and then you look at the innings where you gave up a couple of runs, or you weren't really able to do anything batting-wise. Figure out what went wrong, what can we adjust. Maybe some changes in the lineup are necessary. Maybe some things in the infield, maybe positioning is an issue. Again, just the best thing about losses is what you can learn from them.
Exactly.
At bat right now for Southern Virginia is number 14. That is Dylan Boyce.
Good group of seniors pinch hitting today for the Knights. Haven't gotten the results they wanted, but it's good to have leaders step up and have an opportunity to play prominent roles on the team.
Making some contact there will be a foul ball. Keeps the count at 1-2. Another swing and a strikeout, so 2 outs now. Making the comeback that much more improbable.
And just based off those last 2 or 3 at-bats, it looks like the Knights are going for it big. Wanting that big hit to bring them back into contention for the win today.
Now at bat for Southern Virginia is number 15, Ryan Ferris. Ferris, the freshman from Greenville, Virginia. And this is the thing we've seen too, is that Southern Virginia at the bottom of innings has been able to get their first batter, they go up, they get a solid hit, they get on base. We saw Parker do a similar thing a couple of innings ago, and then the next 3 batters aren't really able to do anything. Brevard really does a great job of strapping down, making sure, hey, they got one on us, let's not let it happen again.
Yeah, that's a good point. That a positive from today is that the Knights are able to get out early and get someone on base, but they haven't been able to take advantage so far at all today.
That foul ball makes it a 2-1 count.
And we've seen that the Knights can be consistent scoring. It's not just 1 or 2 games that they're able to blow the other team out of the water with 10 runs. But in the past, I think 5 or 6 games, they've gotten at least 8 runs in the game. So they've shown their abilities, their ceiling.
Nice hit into left field.
It's gone.
That's a home run. 2 runs scored for Southern Virginia, and number 15, Ryan Ferris, his first at-bat today. Hits it over the fence out in left field. So, I mean, if you're trying to surmount a comeback, that's how you start.
It's a great way to do it.
They already do have 2 outs, so make things really difficult. But now at the top of the batting order with number 34, Seth Lloyd, as the lead, or the deficit, mind you, is now whittled down to 3. The score being 8 runs to 5.
Yeah, it's a big-time moment by Ryan Ferris. Only 6 at-bats this year with 2 hits, and he homers on the 7th. And once again, scoring is Marcelino Leonardo.
Indeed, it seems like we're saying that all the time on these broadcasts. He's able to get a run or 2. That foul ball makes it an 0-2 count. Seth Lloyd makes some good contact. It should be an easy play at first, and that'll do it as the Tornadoes take this game 8 runs to 5, the first of 3 within a span of the next, at this point, 36 hours, as tomorrow will be a doubleheader here on Knights Broadcasting at the fields of Perry McClure High School, once again between the Tornadoes of Brevard College and your Knights of Southern Virginia. Once again, a great display of a lot of different aspects of the game of baseball. A lot of great defense played at times, a lot of great hitting and base running from both sides. At the end of the day, it was the Tornadoes that come away with their first conference victory of the season over the Knights of Southern Virginia. And once again, I'm Dawson Wiedrich. I've been joined by Quinn Meyer today. It's been a great having you all here on Knights Broadcasting. Have a great day, and go Knights.